Hello everybody, this is Peter B. And I want to show you some recent pickups I got. A variety of things. Now the first two things I've already owned. First one you're looking at right here. It's a 1907 Morgan stationery postcards. They're hand-drawn photos. And this one's cool, it actually was mailed. And the images, the guy jumping up to catch the ball is Hall of Famer Jimmy Collins. He played for the National League third base for the Boston Bean Eaters. And then when the American League came to be, he jumped over to the startup Boston Red Sox, where he also third base as well as player manager. He was one of the pioneers of how to play third base. He was the first one to charge in for bunts, and good player and Hall of Famer. This postcard I haven't seen come up often, and like I said, this isn't new. But the reason I'm showing it is because of the image. Here is another postcard, also not new to me, but this one seems to come up more often. Same image, just that it's embossed. And this one has also been mailed, which is pretty cool. So this one I believe there's 3 in the set. There's Jimmy Collins, Hall of Famer, this one. There's a player batting, and that's Hall of Famer Frank Chance. And the third one is someone pitching. I don't know who it is. But these come up every so often. This one not as much. Now, like I said, I had these. And the reason I'm showing is now my new pickup. It's a 1905 Spalding, How to Run the Bases. And as you see, it's the same exact image, which is why I bought it. Now, these Spalding guides, whether it's a how-to or just a yearly guide, are great. Great pictures in them. For instance, there's Honest Wagner. I mean, you have all the greats. Hall of Famer Flick, and should be Hall of Famer Dolan. Mertz and Hendrick, don't know these guys off the top of my head, but anyways, it's full of various photos. Doesn't have Ty Cobb because this is before Ty Cobb's time. But what also is neat is looking at the old gear. Like these were the catcher's mitt back in 1905. And the catcher's mask and the baseball. You even have little ankle supporters, clothing, bags, hats, belts. Bats, shoes. So it's cool to see what they played with back in the day. So this is my new edition, and it's based on my prior 2 pickups with that image. And I do collect Jimmy Collins because he's a Hall of Fame third baseman, and he did play for the Boston teams, and he also was the player manager for the Providence Grays minor league for a while. Okay, get into some cards. Tobacco cards. First one I got is George Davis of the Chicago Americans. This is Series 150, the only series he's in because this is the very end of his career. George Davis played from 1890 to 1909. He was a shortstop and player manager. On April 26, 1900, Davis and teammates Kid Gleason and Mike Grady were walking to the game at the Polo Grounds, and they came upon a raging fire in a housing tenement. The players rushed into the burning building, and Davis rescued a woman and her 3-year-old. The fire left 45 families homeless. With his face blistered, he went on to help his team to a 10-10 tie against the Boston Beaneaters later that same day. His consistent play at short and his consistent hitting got him into the Hall of Fame. Not too many cards of George Davis. And if you're want to collect Hall of Famers, this is probably the card. Nice T206. Another T206 of a Hall of Famer. Miller Huggins of Cincinnati. Miller Huggins was an excellent fielding second baseman playing from 1904 to 1916. So this is an early image of the young second baseman. Oh, and this is a Piedmont 350, in case anyone's interested. But it was his management from 1913 to 1929 that got him into the Hall of Fame. He managed the Yankees from 1918 to 1929, including the famous 1927 Murderers Row. He has 3 championships under his belt with the Yankees, 1923, 27, and 28. So there's a nice card. Has a little bit of a crease, but who cares? I don't care. Still a very beautiful card. Hall of Famer Miller Huggins in his playing day, pre-management days. Okay, a Carmel card. The 1915 E106 American Carmel Jack Barry. I am actually a Jack Barry collector. He was part of the famous $10,000 infield with the Philadelphia Athletics, and later played for and then managed the Boston Red Sox. And after that, he became manager of Holy Cross College in Worcester, Massachusetts for many, many years. And so I am a collector of Jack Barry. There's a couple of card backs with this image. I already have one, but this is a new back for me. Same front. This is the second different back I got of this card. So there's Jack Barry. And here is a 1915 Cracker Jack of Benny Koff of the Indianapolis Federals. It's 1915 because if you turn it over, it's upside down. And it also say that there's a promotion you can mail away. This one does have caramel stains, so it was inside the Cracker Jack box, which is pretty cool. Okay. Koff tried to break into the majors with the New York Highlanders in 1912. He only got into 5 games before they sent him back to the minors for 2 years. With the Federal League starting up, he saw his chance, and he played with the Indianapolis Hoosiers in 1914. So this is a 15 card, but it shows him 1914 Indianapolis Hoosiers. In 1915, he went over to the Brooklyn Tip-Tops of the Federal League. Now, Benny Koff excelled as a hitter in the Federal League. They called him the Ty Cobb of the Feds. He led the league in many categories. After the Federal League disbanded, he joined the New York Giants until 1920. In 1916, with a member of the Giants, he became the only player to be picked off 3 times in one game. Now that's a lousy game. I'm sure John McGraw was really pissed at him. Koff was to return to the Giants in 1921, but Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis suspended him on a suspicion of an auto theft. Benny Koff owned an automobile business. His employees stole a car in 1920 and then repainted it, put new tires on and a new license, and then put it out on the lot to be sold. And Benny Koff did sell it, saying he was unaware that it was a stolen car. He even has proof that at the time of the theft, he was having dinner at a restaurant with his wife. It went to trial court because it was a crime, and the jury did find him innocent. And I believe I read even Benny Koff tried to give the owner of the car who stolen money for it afterwards. So the federal court ruled that he was totally unaware that this was a stolen car that he sold. Judge Landis didn't want any of it, and he banned him from baseball, never to be involved in the majors again. Until this year, a couple of months ago, he was, I don't know what the word, acquitted or reinstated, I believe the word is, along with the Black Sox people, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Ed Cicotti, and all of them, just recently. He'd never be a Hall of Famer because he really had those 2 great years in the Federal League, but not as great in the major leagues. But he was a decent player. He was an outfielder. And he is reinstated. So maybe Topps someday might print a Benny Koff card, all shiny and metallic, like the cars he used to sell. So that's Crackerjack Benny Koff. Now here's one that I'm influenced from Orlando at Collector's Dream. This is a 1928 Yingling's ice cream, Adolfo Lugi. It says it's authentic. I mean, it's miscut, but it's miscut in favor of being large. But it's a nice card. And there's the backs telling kids to save their pictures. So Adolfo Lugi. Lugi was a Cuban-born pitcher that became the first Latin American pitcher in the majors. And he had a great and long career in the United States. And he is in the Cuban and I believe Mexican Hall of Fame. And like I said, I like having the Yingling's ice cream cards, but I in particular picked up Adolfo Lugi because Orlando did a video about him many times and I was interested in him. So thank you, Orlando. Okay, next card. Let me take it out of the sleeve because there's a sticker on it. Another Hall of Famer as a coach for the Pacific Coast League, Oakland Oaks, George Kelly. He was Hall of Famer for manager in the big leagues and managed the minor leagues for a while. Now, I picked this up as a type card. I didn't have any of these cards, and always good to get a Hall of Famer for a type card. And this is Reamer Bacon Company cards. I just thought the backs was cool, and I just wanted one example in my collection. And these are from 1949. Another card I picked up just because it's a cool card and I always wanted it. This is 1952 Topps Gus Zernell. I always thought this was a cool image. Now I have it in my collection. And it has a black back, if that matters. So Gus Zernell. And I also got a VR prize from Jake at Wax Packs Wisdom. And it's the 1959 Topps Mickey Mantle All-Star. Jake had a giveaway for a couple of prizes, and this was the grand prize, and I was lucky enough to be randomly selected. I did not have one of these in my collection, and so I am very grateful to get it. The back of the card. Cool card. Thank you, Jake. A couple of buybacks. I'm into buybacks, as most people know. I have a buyback Franken set, similar to Shane at Shoebox Legends. And I'm trying to get cards in the slots number 1 to number 792. I'm also trying to get an example of every year that a buyback was done. I know I got from 1952 to 2000. I just got to check. I haven't been paying attention to what I got from 2001 on. But I did what I wanted to do, get 1952 to 2000. And then Shane goes and shows a card. A year, I didn't even know they did buybacks. And that's Topps 1951 through their Topps Tribute. So then that sent me searching. Well, I have to have a 1951 in my collection. So there we go. Hank Bauer. So now I have Topps 1951 to 2000 and a bunch after. And I'm probably about 85% done with my Franken set. So a lot of them I'm picking off commons to fill slots. But here are some recent pickups that are not commons. I got George Brett. This is rediscovered Topps. And I got Pedro Martinez. And I got Hall of Famer Ted Simmons. This fills the 120 slot. I have Sal Bando, captain of those Oakland A's teams that won 3 consecutive World Series. And I got Charlie Lau from 1963. He became a hitting coach, and he's the one that taught George Brett and the Royals the process of hitting, which got him into 3 consecutive American League Championship Series. So he helped George Brett become the All-Star Hall of Famer. Then I got commons, just filling numbers I'm not going to show them. And then finally, I got 2 books to read. One I already started, and that's this one, Larry Doby in black and white. So, as anyone who watches my channel knows, that when I buy a book, it gives me permission, then I feel guilty and go out and buy a bookmark. So this is the bookmark I bought. Nice Bowman card. I did not have that in my collection, so it will be used as a bookmark as I'm reading, and then it'll go into my permanent collection. And the other book I got is Bottom of the 33rd. It's about the longest game in professional baseball. It involved the Pawtucket Red Sox, which is in Rhode Island, and the Rochester Red Wings. Pawtucket had a young Wade Boggs. The Red Wings had a young Cal Ripken. And it lasted 33 innings. It actually lasted 32, and it was still tied, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, so they had to call it. And then the next time Rochester came in, they replayed from the 33rd, and the Pawtucket Red Sox scored and won the end of that game. And my bookmark is the guy who scored the winning run, Marty Barrett, who then went on to have a great career with the parent team Boston Red Sox. So I thought that would be a great bookmark, and then it'll go into my permanent collection. And the Pawtucket Red Sox moved a couple of years ago to Worcester, Massachusetts, and now they're called the Worcester Red Sox, or Woo Sox. And just last month, the stadium of Pawtucket, which you're looking at right here, was demolished. And they're going to make housing where the stadium used to stand. And I've been to this stadium many times, seeing all the young Red Sox people. I saw Jim Rice, Fred Lynn, Dwight Evans, a bunch of others on the way up to the Boston Red Sox. Many games I used to go here. So it's kind of sad, first, that they moved out of Rhode Island, and secondly, that last month they finally bulldozed the stadium to the ground. Well, that's it. Those are my pickups. I hope you enjoyed it. And I wish everyone a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you.